ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I will take you through the journey of mysterious labyrinth of crime in our minds and bodies. Well, I hope most of you have a general idea of what does the crime mean and who are the people who commit them. We call them offenders. Crime is as old as humanity, isn't it? We often hear stories about small burglaries to huge robberies, and they fascinate, intrigue, and terrify us at the same time. Whenever the crime is committed, the questions that come to everyone's mind is that why an individual commit crime? Why is crime present in our society? Or why an offender did so? These are the foremost questions that come to everyone's mind, but no one thinks that why there is a need arising in an offender's mind to do so. So here comes the part of psychological aspect and psychological factors. Whenever an offender commits a crime, he usually have a reason behind his act. He usually have a general idea of what he is going to do or what he will do to the victim. Our minds, what a contraptions they are. They can dream up of scenarios worthy Hollywood blockbusters or too complex ideas that even Sherlock Holmes would raise his eyebrows. Whenever an offender commits a crime, as I said, he has a general idea of what he will do to the victim. So there are so many factors of whether he's a habitual offender, or he's doing it for his or her family, or he's doing it for some kind of bad, which mostly youth have this kind of ego to not let themselves down and to show off themselves among their peers, which is not really cool. Or they're doing it for some instant gratification and pleasure, or they're doing it for some kind of revenge. There are so many factors why an individual commits crime. But we still question, why is crime present in our society? Well, I guess crime is present in our society because of the mentality of the people, the mentality of no humanity left. Because how can a man rape a girl of 5 to 6 years old or even a newborn? Don't they have humanity? Well, I guess people don't have humanity, and that's why the crime rate nowadays is super high. Well, firstly we were divided in caste, but now we are divided in no humanity left. That's why the victim from Nirbhaya suffered his friend, begged for help, but no one came up. One of the most cruel guys tortured a little girl with an iron rod. How shameless can a person be to do this kind of evil things, just because they don't have humanity? So here come 3 main psychological theories of why individuals commit crime. And I'm going to tell you about them. First one is psychodynamic theory. This theory involves mental growth of the child. Everything starts from your childhood. So you start feeling anxiety, depression, and you start feeling that no one is helping you. That's why you come up with ideas that are really strange. For example, to kill someone or to torture someone just because it brings you pleasure. Pay attention that mostly negative emotions have a huge impact on who we are right now, rather than the positive ones. So these emotions have a huge impact on child's development, on who they are, and what they think about crime, what they think about committing a crime. Second one is behavior theory. This theory is mostly about the behavior, about the way, about the mindset of an offender, and what he perceived through the environment. Well, movies have been created for entertainment, like sci-fi or fight movies, but for teenagers, these are mostly the way of escapism. They see that drugs, alcohol, and smoking helps children for some kind of escape. When their opposite gender rejects them, they find pleasure in just smoking or drinking alcohol, not paying attention that they are being damaged mentally, emotionally, and physically. And children have 2 options while growing in an area where the crime rate is super high. First one is start to live like them, and second one, step out and not live like them. Well, I guess child also starts feeling that their parents are not paying enough attention for them, so they start kind of doing some crazy stuff in order to gain their attention, and start feeling alienated, which is really bad, because when a person does not have any other individual to talk to, their mind stops working and they start doing really crazy stuff. Well, last but not least is cognitive theory. I guess this is one of the most reasonable theories of how an individual perceives the environment or how he or she thinks of a particular occasion. In our case, it's mostly about offenders. Whenever they commit a crime, what do they think about, or what occasion has led them to do so? It really plays a major role of psychological aspect and psychological factors for police officers and detectives while the proceedings are still going on. Right now, I want to tell you about ego. I guess most of you have a general idea what does the ego means. Ego initially meant when someone's goodwill was hurt. But nowadays, for teenagers, it isn't like that. When their parents scold them, or where their teachers raise their voice, their ego is hurt. That's why they start killing people, they start doing some crazy stuff just because they want to be cool among their friends and to show that they are not hurt if their words doesn't matter. And it's really bad. Unfortunately, no values and no respect for elders. The only things that are left are ego, selfishness, hatred, and power of money. Well, God has created us not to kill or hate someone, but to share humanity, love, helping poor. Unfortunately, for many individuals, money is more important than life of any other human being. And unfortunately, the rules and the laws has been created for us to be helped and to act in a way that is appropriate in order to live a happy life are being misused just because people are doing everything for their own sake. Right now, you might think, what can we do to stop it? What can we do to stop teenagers or prevent them from committing crime? I don't really think that we have much power to control because the environment where children reside is something that is out of our power and we cannot control it. The only thing that we can do is ask school teachers to treat children in a way that they are not treated at their own house, or make sure that they are not living in the environment where the crime rate is high, because they are more likely to commit a crime just as other people. And if their parents are also treating their children badly, we have to make sure that these parents are not parents of them anymore. Well, at the end, I want to add one famous quote by Swami Vivekananda, which says, "You have to grow from the inside out. No one can teach you, no one can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul." So make sure that you are growing in the appropriate environment, because the environment is the only thing that matters. Childhood, environment, and humanity. Thank you.